Buckets, brought to you by BetMGM. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by Brandon Anderson, NBA futures analyst. We were doing our series preview, a massive preview you can find both parts of in this podcast feed. And when we were doing that, we were talking a little bit about some legacy stuff, and it was such good content, we thought we wanted to break it out a little bit and put it extra. So here's a conversation, just a little bit of a bonus episode. We're going to talk about Luka Doncic, what this means if he wins a title, Kyrie Irving, Hall of Fame implications for the various Celtics. And also, here's a question. What if Boston doesn't win this series after everything is broken their way? We'll talk about all that and more. Here's a non-betting, non-actionable bonus episode of Buckets. What does a title do for Luka historically? If he wins a title here, what does this do for him?
I think it's too soon to know yet. It was my answer here because historically you need to know how many MVPs does he win? Like, how does the longevity stats play out? And it looks pretty good. Like, spoiler alert, he's going to win at least an MVP, probably multiple still. He's going to have crazy, like I heard on Zach Lowe's podcast talk about like the projection for points, rebounds, assists, and how it's going to tally up. Like, it's basically him and LeBron on the direction where he's going. I think that surprised me a little bit. I thought that it was going to be the main point. Okay, but nobody wins a title this young, right? Luka just turned 25. I had a birthday article up on him. I was surprised, actually. Here are some star players that won a title younger than 25. Magic did it twice. Magic did it at age 20 and then 22. Kobe at age 21, probably not the star of the team yet, but won the title. D Wade, Mavs fans remember that one, age 24. Tim Duncan, age 23. Larry Bird, age 24. I don't know. This is kind of actually when the star wins their first title if he's on that level. And I think for a while, at least, we have talked about Luka as being kind of on that level. I think interestingly, too, and this will be a sore spot for Mavs fans, I think, if Luka would win this title, I think that at least puts him on track for top 20 all time and on track to finish ahead of Dirk Nowitzki. I think this title puts him like that nearly matches the Dirk title. That Dirk title was special, I know, because they beat the Heat. I think it's one of my favorite titles ever personally as a self-appointed LeBron hater, of course. But like, my question to you is, this title, winning this way, breaking through, beating the juggernaut Celtics, would this title be better? Or would it be more meaningful than the Dirk title? How would you rank it just comparing the two Dallas titles? The only two they have in franchise history, if they get it.
It's not in the same universe. It's not in the same universe. You're talking about Dirk, who had lost the 2006 finals in painful fashion after going up 2-0, had been in all of those battles with the Spurs and the Suns throughout the 2000s. That was a number one seed in MVP 2007, lost in the first round of the Warriors, which caused him to go like on an existential crisis. Comes back and wins in 2011, beating the Heat, the triad with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade for the franchise's first title. It is not comparable. I do agree that it puts him on track to be ahead of Dirk all time.
I think it is not comparable for the franchise, not even close. I think it is comparable for the individual player.
I don't think so, just because Dirk was beloved.
Fair enough.
Like, Dirk was beloved.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody was like really happy for Dirk when he won. And I don't think Luka's there yet, because Luka, like, you got to pay your dues, right? It'll be a lot of really, like, already you get a title, you know? The Wade comp's not bad though from that perspective. Kyrie's already a Hall of Famer in my mind. Yeah. I don't know that this moves it a ton. It just helps. He's already, I think, going to be a Hall of Famer based off of the international basketball, the one title, the shot in Game 7 versus arguably the best team of all time. It's not. That's probably the 2017 Warriors. You got in here 8-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, and Rookie of the Year. He goes up way high in everybody's estimation if he wins. It's like, I don't think that this moves the needle for him in terms of he gets stuff that he wasn't going to. It just kind of cements him, and it moves him past all of the stuff that he has very rightfully been criticized for.
Yeah, I think I agree with all of that. I think it adds to the lore. Like, Kyrie is a lot about like the mystical lore of just he's every player's favorite player, right? I don't really get it, but like clearly dudes love him. And I think the lore of what Kyrie would be looking back to have these what would be two like all-time underdog rings against juggernaut opponents, and have Kyrie have like the big moment, the big shot in a couple of times. Like I think it moves him. I already have him as a top 25 point guard all time. I think it moves him into top 15. I don't think he can get to top 10 at this point, but like I put names like Gary Payton, Chauncey Billups, Isaiah Thomas. I know people are higher on him. They shouldn't be, but I think it'd be in that range. Tony Parker. Like, you get rings, you get in the conversations. Kyrie is already Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any 8-time All-Star that's not in the Hall of Fame, if I recall. So it's just a matter of kind of standing in how we talk about him. We talk about Kyrie in a lot of ways right now. Getting this ring added to the other ring and the shot that he had, like, that leads the Wikipedia page, where right now there are other Kyrie things that might lead the Wikipedia page someday. I think that's probably what it moves the needle for on him.
Jason Kidd moves into, I think, a top 10 coach, which I don't think anybody's gained as much cred as Jason Kidd has in these playoffs. If the Celtics win, Tatum and Brown, they go in the rafters. You get a title. Like Garnett and Pierce went up. If they go up, Tatum and Brown have to for as many conference finals and then the finals. And then a title. You add a title, I think you get in there. Especially like if you wouldn't think of it as like a one-off, but these are career lifetime Celtics. I think they go up there. Drew Holiday, I don't think makes the Hall of Fame if he wins. You've got in here like 2 rings, 6 times all defense, 2 gold medals, the sportsman and character. It's just not enough. I think he's like going to be one of those guys that's on the fringe but isn't there. Al Horford, I think, does get in though if he wins this title. I think this is like a separator for him. I think he's out if he doesn't get this title. I think he's in if he gets it, because then it's 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA. He's got the 2 NCAA championships and a finals run. And a finals, an NBA championship. That to me gets Al Horford into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, the 2 golds on Drew is projecting. That's assuming that he gets the 2nd gold coming up here. A reminder here, this is the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. So to me, that's where these, like, it has to be the Basketball Hall of Fame for either of these guys to have a case at all. But adding in the gold medals for Drew, multiple if he gets them, plus 2 rings. And then for Horford, I agree. I think he does get in specifically because he is on the all-time great Florida team that won 2 titles in a row. Until UConn just this year, that was our last back-to-back champion. Basketball Hall of Fame, that stuff matters, and I think that adds to Horford's case. He's got to have the ring, though. I think without that, I don't think he's in.
If Boston loses, oh my God. I'm sorry, you're not going to have a better run than that. Like, there's no better chance than this. You were the number 1 seed by a billion. You're a top 5 simple rating system team of all time. You're one of the top teams in net rating. You've done all these things. You lost only twice on your way to the finals. They have to win the series. If they don't, it's going to be an absolute catastrophe, and there will be calls for patience, but I don't know how that team runs it back. How would you possibly think that you're going to be able to win it next year with this same group if you can't get it done versus the 5 seed? Like, there is not a better path here. You don't have to face the Nuggets. You don't have to face the Wolves. You get a 25-year-old with some good rim protection. That's all you got to do here.
To be clear, none of that goes on the banner. Win the championship, and you just got the 18th banner. None of this is an asterisk, but you have to win this one. Like, you've been in the conference finals 6 of 8 years right now. That's great. Congratulations. You have to get one. And, like, there's not going to be a better opportunity to get this one. To the point that, like, I don't think you can do patience. I think if you don't get this one, it has to be considered a failure for this team at this point, and I don't say that lightly, and I think change has to come. I don't know if that means Joe Mazzulla. I don't know if that's finally the Jaylen Brown trade that comes. I don't know what change comes, but I don't think you can just run it back if you don't get this title. Now, I think they win the title. You and I both do. They are already priced at books for next year's title as significant favorites. That's correct. They should be. Running it back with a title team should make them the title favorites for next year. Now, that's a different story. It's tough to repeat, but that pricing is right. If it doesn't happen here, there has to be some real, when is it ever going to happen? Like, this is the team. This is the moment. This is the lineup. The other dudes are getting old. Al Horford is going to be 39 next year. Porzingis and Drew are getting older. Like, this is the moment. The bracket broke right. They've caught every break. I've tweeted several times along the way, oh, what does it mean that Indiana versus New York and someone got hurt? It comes up Boston. Everything that has happened in the entire playoffs and every other series has been everything's coming up Millhouse for the Boston Celtics. Like, finally, Boston sports have caught a break. This is it. You have to win. You have to win right now.
You got a question on here. Will more teams be willing to make big in-season trade swings after the success of Gafford and Washington, and as well as Siakam for the Pacers? My answer is no. And the reason is because every front office views it. You have to have such backing from your ownership group to be able to pursue these kind of trades, to be able to make those kind of big moves. Because if you make a big move and you miss, let me put it this way: what if Pascal Siakam doesn't re-sign this summer? How does that get viewed for the Pacers front office, right? Gafford and Washington, I think, were win now moves that happened to work out, but it's just teams are very reticent to make those kind of moves. Front offices are very reticent to make big swings. It exposes their careers to risk. So I don't think that we'll see this. What I do think we should do, Brandon, though, is I am convinced after Dallas's run, followed by after Miami's run last year, and then Miami's run in 2020, even though that was in the bubble, I do think we have to look at second half performance a little bit more. Like, I've got to reestablish a little bit, not to say that I don't believe March is fake. It is, but we have to at least be a little bit more open-minded for how you perform after the deadline. If you are that team that is really elite, you deserve to be taken seriously, because we got the Lakers last year in the Western Conference Finals as well. All right, it's going to do it for a legacy bonus episode here on Buckets. Appreciate you guys listening. Stay tuned for props episodes. We'll do how to bet the Celtics, how to bet the Mavericks, all sorts of content coming for you this week from Action Network and Buckets. Glad to have you with us. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, as well as Hutton Jackson, the video crew, getting it up over on youtube.com/The Action Network. I will be with you very shortly with more content. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Till we meet again, let's get buckets.